Live from a bunker in the heart of the Ozarks, a podcast that would publicly humiliate itself just to eat some fries at breakfast. It's Sip Pop. Welcome to Sip Pop Weekly, streaming live most Fridays, are available to download later in your podcast feed, unless, of course, you're a patron.
Patrons get perks.
Patrons get those perks.
Woo!
I'm your host, Aaron Dicer, and his knowledge of multiple Super Bowl winners is only surpassed by his knowledge of Benjamin Franklin trivia. It's Andrew Ormsby, ladies and gentlemen.
Ahoy!
Each week we'll chat about movies, TV, and whatever else from the pop culture universe is on our minds. And please welcome our guest this week. She once walked through a witch hex barrier, and now she can manipulate podcast energy. It's Susan Kamyab Stevens.
Yeah, woo!
How you been, Susan?
Good. I had a baby since the last time I was on.
That's a big life event. How did
it is.
Yeah.
Everything good? I mean, everything go well?
Yeah, everything went well, thank God.
Yeah. Well, tell us all about them.
Them?
Well, I don't know gender, so
I thought you were saying that I had twins or something. He's a boy.
Okay.
Just had the one. Yeah. It was very, I don't know. I was terrified because I had to have a C-section, and that was really scary. I mean, I think either way is scary. I don't know anybody who's like, oh, this is going to be cake.
Yeah. Childbirth, big deal.
Whatever. No, it was something, but I will say the birth was nothing compared to the first 2 weeks. That was
what does that mean? Like the first 2 weeks were like traumatic, or
Afterwards?
No, afterwards. Actually, I think if you have it down, maybe people know what to do right away. We were foolishly trying to take turns in the night. So we had him in our bassinet in our room, and we would just like take turns whenever he would cry. And that was very dumb of us. We finally, after 2 weeks, I think I kept him in the nursery for like until 3 a.m. or something. And I was like, why don't we do shifts? Then we at least get consistent sleep.
Right.
Because neither one of us was getting good sleep. And I never experienced true tiredness until we felt like walking zombies. Like I was just like, it was awful.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, imagine going through that as a single parent. You know what I mean? Like having to handle the crying all by yourself every single time it happens. Like it's wild.
A single parent who even has more than one kid. Like, I mean, they're heroes, like superheroes. Like I feel like I can't even, after this, I'm like, wow, we're probably done. Like I'm like, people who have multiple, good on you.
I'm sitting here with 4 children. You know, it's
Yeah, but did you have? Well, no. Did you have them at a younger age?
I was younger. Yes. Well, we had them between I was 24 to 30 was when we had our 4 kids within about 6 years. So.
All right.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I'm 35 and I'm tired.
We were tired all the time for about. Well, probably still going on. Probably about 20 years straight here. We haven't not been tired, but
And you're an empty nester now, right?
Well, I mean, graduated from high school doesn't necessarily mean empty nester. So what kind, depends on how you define the word. But yeah, we've still got 2 kids here living with us. So,
okay.
But yeah, it's definitely an adjustment. What was his birthday?
July 27th, which is actually my husband's birthday too.
Oh, nice little shared birthday.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So just celebrated 3 months then. I think that's a big kind of hopefully one of those corners that you can turn where it's like, okay, they're starting to understand how the world works. We're getting there.
Yeah.
Kind of place. So yeah.
Yeah, every month really does feel like a accomplishment, and it's just cool seeing him like grow and recognize us and smile at us. It's amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And also, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Parents are allowed to say that. Parents are
yes,
allowed
they
to say
are.
that.
They are.
All right. Well, let's get into the reviews for this week. We're going to talk about Quiz Lady, The Marvels. We'll do some Brie Larson films on the Best Ever Challenge. Of course, we'll do some Buried Treasure too. But let's kick it off with Marvel's latest, called appropriately The Marvels. Carol Danvers, a.k.a. Captain Marvel, has reclaimed her identity from the tyrannical Kree and taken revenge on the Supreme Intelligence. When her duties send her to an anomalous wormhole linked to a Kree revolution, her powers become entangled with that of Jersey City superfan Kamala Khan, a.k.a. Miss Marvel, and Carol's estranged niece, now Saber astronaut Captain Monica Rambeau. Together, this unlikely trio must team up and learn to work in concert to save the universe. Yes, The Marvels has arrived in this series of Marvel movies where the TV shows are almost as important as the movies, especially in this case with Kamala Khan. The TV show Miss Marvel plays a role in her backstory and who she is. And also her family, who is in this movie, is introduced there. So, yeah. And then you've got, of course, Brie Larson coming back as Carol Danvers. And then Samuel L. Jackson stepping in as Nick Fury for a lot of this. What did you guys think of The Marvels? Did you like it, love it, dislike it, hate it, or it was just okay? Andrew, what did you think?
High side of okay.
High side of just okay. Susan?
I liked it. Maybe a little bit more than liked.
Oh, high side of liked it, or at least medium high side of liked it.
I'll go high side of liked it.
High side of liked it for Susan.
Do
I hear a loved it? No, you don't hear loved it. I'm straight in the middle of liked it. I enjoyed myself for this one. Susan, you said high side of liked it, so kick us off. Tell us some of your thoughts on The Marvels.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll start with the positive. I liked it because I do like the three women. The characters are great, especially Kamala Khan. I'm assuming you guys watched Miss Marvel, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, thank God.
Absolutely loved it.
I love that series too. And I am telling anybody, like, if you're going to watch this, you have to watch Miss Marvel. Otherwise, you're not going to appreciate Kamala Khan.
It's kind of the new normal, right? Like, it's interesting.
It's really kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie. But that is my negative. But I really did love her, and I mean I like all of them. But she's that character that she made me want her more. I was like, just give me more Kamala. But it was funny, and it was a good story. Ultimately I just enjoyed them a lot.
Yeah. Andrew, some thoughts?
Yeah, she brings a level of charm and relatability to the film. It gives the audience someone to root for, someone easy to root for. She totally captures that fan meeting their idol and totally geeking out in the most adorable way possible. It's great.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the MCU or the film the MCU needed right now, though.
What do you mean by that?
Tonally, I think that the MCU has been ramping down, because it kind of goes in ebbs and waves, kind of like all, good stories have to. There has to be a flow to this tempo. But I think that they were at the bottom and they were starting to need a rise. And I don't think that this is the rise that they think that this is going to be for the MCU right now.
I think they're in the mode right now of just kind of being stuck with the consequences of their decisions. Like, I mean, there's, it's such a big project. Like when the MCU started, they kind of had some outs. They could make Iron Man, and if it didn't work, then they didn't have to do anything else. You know what I mean? Like then they could make Captain America and Thor and, kind of see how it all worked. And hey, it's kind of going good. People are liking the idea of the crossover thing. Let's try the Avengers. Oh my goodness, it works. Now it's just like we only have one choice. We have to tie all this stuff together. We have to make it work. And I think this movie suffers for it. And I think several movies have suffered for it. And
Yep.
I don't know how you fix that, because it's also, as much as it's a bug, it also can be a feature. So like there is this positive, negative back and forth that goes on within Interconnected Universe. And I just think, personally, I think making the TV shows so intricately tied to the movies may have been the mistake.
Yes.
So that's because at that
Agreed.
point, you're assuming a lot about your audience and their availability and their subscription and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, they're kind of handcuffed at this point. The Marvels was going to be this movie the second they laid out this phase. Like there wasn't a choice to be made where it's like, oh, we're down, so we need something to lift us back up. This was always going to be the movie. So yeah, it's interesting. And then of course we don't know the behind the scenes either with, how much, refinagling is going on with the Jonathan Majors stuff. Like, was there stuff in here that has been excised because they're now rethinking the whole Kang of it all? Like, how we don't know any of that stuff, but it's possible. There were rumored like massive reshoots, more than normal with a Marvel movie on this one, and the ending feels really strange to me. The ending of this movie,
You mean the stinger or the
no, I mean the actual ending of the film.
Okay.
Feels truncated to me in some way. It feels anticlimactic and sudden.
That's the word. Yeah.
So like, I wonder if part of that is the edits, and that some stuff was edited out of the end. But I don't know that. I haven't been behind the scenes. I just felt something off with the end of this movie.
I definitely agree with you. I think that that was probably an issue of mine, which makes me not love it, is that it was kind of anticlimactic. It was just it also kind of felt done, but then the stinger happened. So I was like, oh, all right. But I'm sorry. I think the worst mistake that Disney has decided to do is make you have to watch 4 miniseries to fully appreciate a 2-hour movie, like to understand.
So what are the 4? I know Miss Marvel and WandaVision would be important for this one, but what are the others?
Miss
Hawkeye.
Marvel, WandaVision, Hawkeye, and also Secret Invasion. So all of those
I guess there is some there's some Secret Invasion stuff. I don't know that Secret Invasion and Hawkeye are super important for you to enjoy this movie.
They're not required. Sorry, what'd you say?
I was gonna say I have not seen Secret Invasion, and I did not feel lost on anything.
No, those aren't required. Those are, I would say that I think WandaVision and Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
definitely. I say if you're gonna watch anything, you have to watch Miss Marvel to get this. But to appreciate every little thing, you would want to watch that. And as a diehard fan of like this or whatever, I wouldn't want to like not know. Like, I mean, somebody who hasn't watched Hawkeye, they're gonna be like, "What? What is that? What is happening here? Wait, she's there?" I just, it's a big ask of your audience and your fans to watch all these miniseries, and it's kind of like annoying because there's some people too that don't really like to watch television shows as much. Like they'd rather just go to the movies and not be required to watch a series.
Yeah.
And back in the day, like that was, I know so many people that are like, there's too much streaming and apparently you have to watch that. I don't get that. So I'm not going to watch the movie. Like they're going to lose audience.
I wonder how ridiculous it would be for Disney to have done a thing where they create television series, and then a few weeks after the TV series has finished airing, they compile an edit of the series that's movie length. So they make a movie out of the content that's in the TV series and release that movie, even if it's just streaming, so that it's, there's something more compact for people to watch. I don't know if that would work, but
there's precedent for that.
Yeah, what's that?
With the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Ugh.
One of the editors for Andor is taking all of Obi-Wan Kenobi and he's cutting it down into a feature-length film. So all that
interesting
extra stuff will get edited out. And he's done like side-by-side like showing like his edit and stuff, and you can tell, yeah, you work for Disney, you know what you're doing. So yeah, so there's a
I just wonder
precedent
if
for
that's
that.
something. I just wonder if that's something they could gain some traction from if they're going to continue to try to connect everything. Which again, I kind of like in some ways. I do think it's a feature in some ways, but I just think for one, I think they bit off more than they could chew. They tried to do like 10 different series instead of a couple to test it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I just wonder if there's ways for them. Like I know they have Marvel Legends, which they do on Disney Plus, where before a movie comes out, they'll have a episode dedicated to the superheroes who are involved in that movie, and it'll go over like all of their stuff in the MCU so far. That's really smart. I don't know that a lot of people know about it. I don't know that a lot of people know that show exists on Disney Plus. But they're just going to have to figure out how to keep people invested who don't want to spend 50% of their content watching of the year on Marvel. Like, it's just it's
Seriously.
a lot.
And
it is.
It's not us saying that those shows that we were listing that you would get a lot of useful information from. It's not a stroll or a struggle to get through all of that. They're good shows, but it's the amount of time and you have to dedicate to it. That's the issue. It's not that the quality of the product is lacking in those shows. It's just too much time.
Some of the quality is okay. Some is better than others. I will say it's not okay. Maybe not the quality, but sometimes it's not necessary to be as many episodes as it is. Like there has been plenty of miniseries watches where I'm like, so literally like nothing happened in this episode. We could have like just cut it out or condensed it in 5 minutes.
Yeah. And it's I mean, Loki was 6 episodes, right?
Good God, I hated Loki.
Loki season 2.
Are you talking about
season 1?
Season 2?
I haven't started season 2. I didn't like Loki.
It just finished. It just finished yesterday.
Yeah,
was it good?
Season 2. Well, you didn't like the first season, and I did. So like, I don't know how to help you.
Well, did you like season 2?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But so is there
I liked
more
it
than
about
just
as much as I liked.
There was more than talking in season 1, Susan.
One episode. I can think of one episode.
Susan, I'll just go ahead and tell you, no, it's no different. If you didn't like season 2, then you'll like season 1 about as much.
I think it's fair. I think that's a fair guess. That's a fair assumption. That
I'm still gonna watch it because I'm a completionist, and that's what irks me about these Marvel, like that you have to watch all these mini series to get the movies because. I'm just one of those people that I can't not like not finish it and not watch it because I'm hooked in now.
Yeah,
Ki Hui Kwan's in it.
That's right.
All you need to know.
I do like him. I like him.
There you go. Maybe you'll love it then.
Yeah.
We quickly kind of transitioned into overall Marvel thoughts, which I anticipated. I think that's a key factor in what we're dealing with here. To get back to the movie itself, I think this movie is fun. It's also not super long. Like, it doesn't feel like it overstays its welcome. Again, the end is truncated, minutes. So that's part of it. But what were you saying, Andrew?
110 minutes, I think.
It's less than 2 hours.
It's like an hour. I thought it was like an hour 40. I thought it was like 100 minutes, 105 minutes, something like that. But But yeah, so it feels like it's breezy, it's fun. These three, like you mentioned, Susan, are really fun to watch together. There's a superpower training montage that's one of my favorite superpower training montages that these three go through as their powers are interconnected and they're trying to figure it out. I think these three have a good balance together. There's the lightness of the Miss Marvel character. There's the stoicness of the Brie Larson character, and then there's the like passion of the Tiana Paris character. So like there's all of these together, and they seem to work really, really well. And because of that, I enjoyed a lot of the action too. The way they interacted with the fight scenes and different things like that. I thought that was really good.
I think that this movie humanizes Brie Larson, or I should say not Brie Larson, but it humanizes Captain Marvel in a way that, the MCU hasn't done in successfully yet. I think that she is more fun in this movie. Like the whole
Yeah.
thing with her and Miss Marvel, like trying to find a name for Rambo
Mm-hmm.
is great because it's a bonding thing. It's a connecting moment that they're all sharing, and it's great. Here's my big negative with the movie, though. And I've heard people say that they felt that Darben, the main villain in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
was a boring nothing villain. And I totally disagree, but not for the reasons that you think. I do believe that it is a very
I
poor.
liked her.
Oh, really?
I did, yeah.
Every single, maybe it's just the little bubble that I'm in, but like all the reviewers, and I should preface, I watch reviewers for Marvel movies before we do the show, just because I can't wait.
No, it was
normally I
smart.
like to normally I like to wait until after we've done the show before I see what other people say about a movie, so I'm not
Sure.
influenced. But not with the MCU, I can't help it. And every single one of them has said that they really don't think that this is a very well written character. That it's a nothing character, kind of like how Ronan in the first Guardians of the Galaxy was kind of a nothing villain. I disagree, but I believe it's a poorly written character is not true. It's a case of untapped potential. A character from the past that rises up to shine a light on a blemish of our hero, that has the potential to be a compelling and interesting villain. But what we get, it actually makes me mad more than if it was just a nothing villain.
I think what you're saying has a lot to do with the end of the movie as well, and the resolution. The anticlimacticness of that character's arc is part of the reason in my mind that it doesn't work. But the story stuff with that character did kind of work for me. I like the idea of seeing things from a different perspective. But it just doesn't go anywhere.
I would agree with that. It didn't go anywhere, but I found her like compelling as a villain. Like I wanted more of her.
Right.
What they showed with her reasoning to be mad at whatever Captain Marvel, I was kind of like, but but she was just so mad, and I believed it. So I was like, well, I'm with you.
Yeah. Let's see. Other thoughts on the Marvels. I think the Marvels is willing to go to some fun places other Marvel movies haven't. There is a musical sequence in this movie that I found delightful. And I loved that very, very much. And I loved even more just Marvel's willingness to, keep experimenting, keep doing something a little bit different. In that moment. What about you guys? Any other final thoughts on the Marvels?
There was something I thought of. I forgot it now. Trying to think.
I'll go ahead and say there's a stinger, a mid-credit scene you can stay for. It's not important or anything.
I liked it.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? That's like one of the most important mid-credit scene or post-credit scenes in the entire MCU.
If I wanted,
but I know it's a gimmick. I know it's a gimmick.
If I wanted to spoil it for people, I would have some things I would want to say about it. But I will just say it's not as groundbreaking as it thinks it is.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and my entire theater gasped. And so I think it does what Marvel wants it to do, but it's not the first property to do it. So that's it's anyhow, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Is what I will say. And worth seeing for sure.
Yeah.
And I think you don't have to wait all the way through.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think my only thing was that I appreciated that it was less than 2 hours, because lately these Marvel movies have been like 2.5 hours, and I've just been like, seriously, get over yourself. We don't need this right now.
Yeah. And
it's hour and 45 minutes.
There you go. 105. Yeah. So there you go. If you do stay all the way through the credits, there's an audio kind of stinger at the end that might be a little funny or whatever, but it's honestly not not worth it. Just leave after the mid-credit stinger. You're fine.
We were trying to leave, and one of the PR reps were like, "No, wait." And they made it seem like it was going to be something so good. And we stood there and we waited, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cute.
Yeah. Thanks for making my bladder explode.
Yeah.
There you go. That is the Marvels. And we'll see where Marvel goes next. It's
hopefully a break.
It's going to be a lot of a break. They announced some dates after the strike cleared up.
And everything got pushed back.
Yes, and they're really going to take their time and I think try to right the ship. So we'll see how it goes.
At least 2 years, if not more, please, people.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be able to wait that long.
They should. Let us miss it.
If they're smart, they will.
I mean,
Susan, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I don't know if they have the patience to do that.
They should. That includes miniseries. Stop. let us miss it. Let us want more. I used to crave a superhero movie. Now I'm full.
I know. I think the next thing they've got that I've seen set in stone is Echo, which is set for January, and is going to happen. And What If season 2 has been rumored to drop at some point this winter, but I don't think I've seen set in stone where What If season 2 will be happening. So. But there you go. Those are our thoughts on the Marvels. All right, let's move on to our next review. Let's talk a little bit about Quiz Lady. Not a superhero name, by the way. A brilliant but tightly wound game show obsessed young woman, Anne, and her estranged train wreck of a sister, Jenny, must work together to help cover their mother's gambling debts. When Anne's beloved dog is kidnapped, they set out on a wild cross-country trek to get the cash the only way they know how, by turning Anne into a bona fide game show champion. This is Quiz Lady. This is available on Hulu. It's Sandra Oh and Awkwafina as the sisters in this. What did you guys think? Did you like it, love it, dislike it, hate it, or it was just okay? Susan, start us off.
I think I'm going to give it low side of loved it.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Andrew?
I really liked it.
Nice. Very nice. I'm right down the middle of liked it again. I liked this. I had a good time with it. But didn't find myself at the end going, "Oh, I love that movie." It was more like, "I like that movie." So that's where I landed.
Susan did though.
Yeah, Susan gets to start again. Low side of loved it. Tell us why you love this movie, Susan.
Well, first of all, I didn't even know it was coming out. We got an email that it was going to be on our Disney debut thing, and then I went ahead and just watched it without the watermark when it came out. And I'm, first of all, a game show fan of certain, I used to really, if there's a good game show, I can get really into it. They're a really fun escape. And
by the way, this seemed like a terrible game show. I can't believe this had the audience that.
Yeah. No, this was definitely trying to be a weird play between Price is Right and Jeopardy and stuff like a mosh pit of that.
Yeah.
But I love the cast. I think Awkwafina's great, and I really like Will Ferrell in it. Sandra Oh's okay in it. She's kind of annoying, but it's her character is supposed to be. But I just thought it was so lighthearted. It was just, we're in that season where we got to watch a lot of heavy movies. So watching a breezy, light kind of sort of family film about a sister bond, and then it's funny. It is. I could rewatch that and feel
right.
Good.
Yeah.
But honestly, I thought it was a cute, fun film, and there was a really nice message there. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed the ending too.
Yeah, Andrew.
Watching Awkwafina's journey from obscurity to overnight fame and how she handles it is a testament to both the script and her acting ability. She has mannerisms and the personality of this old woman trapped in this young lady's body. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. I'm in love with her. Honestly, it's the chemistry between her and Sandra Oh. I mean, it's off the charts good chemistry. They clash so perfectly. they hit each other in all the right spots. I absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's there's an authenticity to the sisterhood of it that I think works really well between the two of them. I agree, Susan, that the key factor in this movie's success will be its rewatchability. I just think
Mm-hmm.
it's almost an old school comedy in that way.
Yeah.
In fact, I did wonder.
Yeah.
I had this thought because it's rated R, and I think there's like maybe 5 or 6 f-bombs in there, and that's probably why it's rated R.
Oh,
And I
okay.
just had the thought of like, I know it's on streaming, but wouldn't you just like edit like down to like 2 f-bombs or something and try to make a PG-13 or something to get more
They
eyeballs on it?
should have.
This feels like a PG-13 movie. Am I
I
wrong about
didn't
that?
know it
Yeah.
was R. I had no idea
Yeah.
because I honestly, I guess I don't pay that much attention to F bombs unless it's like excessive.
Right.
So that's
And
yeah.
I don't begrudge any
Right.
movie being the movie it wants to be. I just from a marketing standpoint, I'm really surprised somebody was like, do you understand how close this is to having a whole nother younger audience that for some families,
Right, especially with the big push on the family message there, you'd think
Right.
they would want more of an audience.
Yeah, unless I'm missing something that they just absolutely had to keep in for their R rating, but I don't think I did.
No.
So I was a little surprised by that because it feels like an old school PG-13 comedy where the whole family can just kind of laugh, and there's a little heart to it at the end, which I really enjoyed, in a heart that feels authentic and not forced and not preachy. It just feels very real, and it's well told. The story's well told. It's well scripted. The plot points work very, very well. Another couple things, performances I liked for 2 different reasons. Jason Schwartzman is perfect in this movie.
Oh my god. Yes.
I can't trust
funny.
Ken Jennings anymore.
Right, because he is the Ken Jennings, right? Like that is the
Yeah.
idea. Is like he's embodying that idea of the super contestant that's gunning for the hosting job or whatever.
I love Will Ferrell.
I know. Those ones Will Ferrell is so good.
I think he is perfectly cast here.
Yeah.
For this role. He even has a little bit of Trebek energy to him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Trebek and Mr. Rogers put into one.
In continuing my Aaron mentions all the white guys, Tony Hale also made me laugh quite a bit as the Benjamin Franklin
He was
Airbnb.
good. He was good.
I thought
I
that
love
was
Tony Hale.
really, really funny. Holland Taylor was great too, the next door neighbor. Like that's the thing. Everybody in this
was good.
movie felt like they perfectly did what they were supposed to do.
The Paul Rubin bit. It slayed
Oh,
me.
Were you
yeah.
a little sad at the end? I got a little sad at the end since he had died earlier
Yeah.
this year or whatever.
Oh, it's like, yeah.
No. I was just like, it was just like, oh, it's good to see him,
Yeah.
going out.
I was more along the lines of I was just happy to see him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Alan Cumming.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which is funny because I've always gotten those two confused.
Yeah,
honestly,
sure.
like they are
Sure.
such. That's a perfect like mix up.
Yeah.
I never would have put the two together, but now that I see it, I can't unsee it.
You can't
So
unsee
it's
it.
one of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Aaron, I do have to add, just because I don't want to forget that you did just hit on it. It does feel like an old school like family comedy, and I think
Yeah.
that's part of the rewatchability. It brings me back to like those movies I would watch in the 90s like over and over again.
Mhm.
And what I appreciate is before I watched the movie, I thought it was going to be a stupid comedy. Like it was just going to be dumb. Like it just jokes and then meh. And the fact that I love when a movie is funny and can really like hit you at the heart at the end without being forceful or preachy or cheesy. So this one movie does that really well.
I agree. Andrew, further thoughts?
I love the film's not so subtle look at toxicity of public fame and people's inability to not inject themselves into other people's lives if it can get them a like or something on their social media page.
Yeah.
I think what this movie says about all that is just top tier greatness.
Yeah.
Susan, any other thoughts?
I was gonna say it's also interesting, and maybe this is a relatable factor. she does it because she doesn't really have a family, but some people in general could attach themselves to a show. I know we do it with, even if you're young and you attach yourself to certain characters in a series. I liked how because she didn't have a connection with her family, she felt like Will Ferrell's character was a father, and this show was family to her that she didn't have. So I just thought that was a really nice, like, unique thing that we don't see very often.
Yeah. The only thing I would mention, actually I have two more thoughts. One is just a quick one. I think the art design of the bow tie hallway was great. I just loved it. I just loved it so much. I loved what it meant. I loved how they used it thematically, and I loved how it looked. It's just like I wanted it to really exist. At that moment, I needed this game show to be real, just because of that hallway.
It was magical.
It was. There was a magic to it for sure. And then I loved that hallway so much I forgot my second point. Oh no, I remember. I like what this movie does, something that Onward, the Pixar movie Onward, did as well that I really like, where you kind of think the movie is about mother-daughter relationships for a while, and then you realize it's actually about sibling relationships, and that transition is a good one here. And I think the movie does that very well, makes that happen very well. So those would be my final thoughts on Quiz Lady. Anything else?
No post-credit scene.
No, I do not believe there is. Quiz Lady now is the second best movie ever that I've seen that starts with the word quiz. So there you
What's
go.
the first quiz show?
Yeah, quiz show is number one. Very important facts there. All right, let's move on to the best ever challenge. Before we do, though, thank you to our amazing Sif Pop members. Really do appreciate your support. You can do that at Patreon. It's at patreon.com. /SiftPop is where you would go to support, and there is a bonus show there most weeks that we record. Susan hung out with us in the pre-show, and we recorded some thoughts on twists that made us angry, as well as some other things. And if you want to hear that and also want to support what goes on here, go to patreon.com/SiftPop, and thank you so much for doing so. All right, let's move into our best ever challenge. We'll do best ever Brie Larson movies. Best ever movies that Brie Larson was in. We will go number 5 to number 1. If you have it higher than someone else, make sure and let me know, and we will trump it so that the person who has it highest will be able to talk about it. I will kick us off with my number 5, 21 Jump Street. Is my
Me too.
Number 5.
Trump.
21 Jump Street, making all 3 of our lists. We'll see wherever Susan has it. Susan, why don't you go next?
Okay, so my number 5 was The Spectacular Now.
Great choice. Great choice. Talk about it.
Well, honestly, she's barely in it, but I felt like, I was like, well,
it counts.
It counts. I know she's been in a lot of great films that she's not in very much. There were some other movies too, but I just love The Spectacular Now. I think that's like one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's Whiplash is Miles Teller's best performance, but Spectacular Now is a strong second. Shailene Woodley is really great in that, and I mean Brie Larson's good. She was getting her like fame starting up in there, but I just have to give recognition to that movie because it's just it's really good. I have issues with the fact how Shailene Woodley is like, she should get out of that relationship, but I think it's an honest portrayal of an alcoholic.
Yeah. Andrew, what is your number 5 was also 21 Jump Street. So on to our number 4s. My number 4 is 13 going on 30.
He's in that?
Yeah, that's what my research said. So yes.
She is.
Is she like a kid in that?
I think she might be, yes.
Wow, that is a great movie.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and very, very rewatchable. So if you haven't checked out 13 going on 30, it's a great body swap movie that you would enjoy. So yeah, check it out. Susan, what is your number 4?
21 Jump Street.
There you go.
Hey!
Yeah. This is one that she's obviously got a bigger part in. But maybe not like her Oscar or anything. But that movie's just fun. That is a hilarious film. I wasn't crazy about 22 Jump Street, but 21 Jump Street, I remember like laughing out loud in the theater over so many great one-liners. And I really enjoy Jonah Hill and what's his name? Channing Tatum. Their chemistry is so great. They really bounce off each other really well. And I think for me, what I enjoyed most was how Channing Tatum was like Mr. Popular in the police academy, but then like when he got the role reversal, like I think there's a line that always cracks me. It's like, why are the nerds popular? Because Glee. And he says like the F word. And he's like, man,
Yeah.
screw Glee. And I love Glee, so that was really funny.
Very nice. All right, Andrew, what is your number 4? Or did you want to talk about 21 Jump Street as well?
It's absolutely hilarious. Totally great pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My number 4 is Kong Skull Island.
Nice. Talk
It's a
about
good
it.
movie.
I think people don't give the MonsterVerse enough credit for being visually beautiful. Like Kong Skull Island, like some of the effects in that movie to this day are some of the best that you'll ever see in any action movie ever. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous action movie. Same thing with the first Godzilla, and Godzilla versus Kong had some beautiful effects in it as well. It's a good story. Sam Jackson is a great villain. Yeah, if you haven't checked out the MonsterVerse, I think there's only like 1 or 2 movies that are even decent. The rest are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for Project Monarch when that comes out in a couple of months.
Very nice.
A couple weeks, I meant.
All right, on to my number 3 then, and we're on to our number 3s. Is that correct? Or no,
Yeah.
Andrew, did you get to do your number 4?
I just did.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I just
Yeah, Kong Skull Island. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 3. This is where I have Room. I have Room
Me
at number
Trump.
3.
You guys have it at the same place?
Yeah. We're just sharing a list.
Aaron and I
y'all
had the
think
same
about-
list.
Jeez.
Susan, what is your number
definitely
3?
Trump there.
What's your number 3, Susan?
All right.
Trainwreck. No.
Good choice.
Oh.
Good choice.
Okay, I really thought that would be okay. I thought Trainwreck was a surprisingly great romantic comedy for the time of where basically romantic comedies in theaters are just not doing well. This one was one that I was like, wow. I mean, it's a hard R. It's not like 13 going on 30, but it's so funny. Amy Schumer is hilarious in it. So is Bill Hader. And I enjoyed Brie Larson. She's she's the normal sister to her in it. And I mean, I'm a big fan of that. It's kind of long, but it's hilarious.
Nice. Trainwreck was not one of my favorite comedies, but yeah, I know a lot of people enjoy.
Was there
it,
a reason
so.
why you didn't like it? It was just, I totally can understand. Like,
It just didn't feel meaningful to me in any way. Like I didn't feel anything underneath the humor, which felt pretty cheap to me overall.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm in the minority on that one, so I am aware.
totally fair.
Andrew, your number 3 was also Room, so we will move on to our number 2s. My number 2 was Short Term 12.
Trump.
Trump. How is Susan trumping everything?
I
It
don't
doesn't make sense.
understand. I don't understand. I'm sorry, guys. Jeez.
Well, Susan, I have a feeling that I know what your number 2 is. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, my number 2 is Room.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And that is our number 3. So
Okay. So
talk about it.
I mean, she won her Oscar for that for good reason, because her performance, I remember watching that movie like really early on before like nominations. And I remember thinking, if Brie Larson doesn't get Best Actress for this performance, there's something wrong. Because there was nobody, in my opinion, that could outdo that. She was phenomenal. And I think the best thing about that movie, I feel like, and I'm also like a Lifetime girl. Like I watch a lot of Lifetimes, so I can really appreciate a really good quality woman getting kidnapped,
Sure.
raped, and all that stuff. And so that, but what I appreciate about it is that it was so well done in the fact that it was more about life after that. And she was so concerned for her son adjusting to the real world after being locked up in that room, and then to see that it was her like that was going to be having more of a struggle than her son, that was so interesting. And I just love a really good like character study and going into the psyche and stuff like that. And I mean, she was just brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. She's great in it. Andrew, did you have thoughts on Room?
Fun little trivia at the beginning of the movie when they're in the room. By the way, this is like one of the very few movies that I always recommend people going into completely blind. Like
Yes.
don't know anything about it. Perfect.
Mhm.
Just turn it on, and as things are revealed to you, it's breathtaking. It really is.
Mhm.
But fun little trivia at the beginning of the movie, they use a room that is, I think, 2 or 3 times the size of the room at the end of the movie, like when they go back to visit it. That's why he's like, "Oh, it's a lot smaller." And I remember it is physically a smaller room
Mm-hmm.
than at the beginning of the movie.
Mhm.
Just stuff like that is super smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. It is at times a tense and anxiety filled watch,
Yeah.
but it is definitely worth a watch. So yeah, I had Room at number 3 as well. That brings us to Andrew's number 2. What do you got?
In game,
Oh.
Trump.
All right, I guess
It don't. It doesn't make sense.
Wait,
That was everything trumped.
did you just trump him?
I just trumped it.
Oh, gosh.
I have In Game at number 1, and since it's time to move on to our number ones, we can talk about it.
This is the most Trump ever.
I don't know. We've had those episodes where it just seems like every pick is trumped by somebody. But Andrew, has every pick of yours been trumped?
Kong Skull Island was not.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
That's right. You got that one through.
I'm surprised nobody else had my number 1 though.
I thought about it, but I felt like she's in it for so little that I just couldn't like. I was like, I'll just stick with these.
We'll
But,
get
I mean,
there.
obviously,
Right now,
Endgame is
though.
amazing.
Right now, though, we're talking about Avengers Endgame, where the MCU had its last moments of being good.
Yeah. Well, wait. What does Spider-Man No Way Home count as?
That's after Endgame. Yeah, that's
Because
whatever the next
that was
phase
really
is.
good.
Yeah.
Those-
So
That was really, really good.
So anyhow, yes, it was the culmination of years and years of Infinity Stone throwing. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I do like Infinity War better, but yeah, Endgame
Yeah.
is good for sure.
Really.
Andrew, did you want to talk about it at your number 2?
Yeah, I think that Endgame has more moments that are going to be memorable, like throughout time. I think that Cap picking up Mjolnir may go down as the biggest cinematic moment ever. Who knows?
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, if it's according to
but-
fan reaction in the theater, it's hard to
Yeah.
find something where people lost their minds more than that.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is probably in history I've never felt, and that was at a press screening, and I
Yeah.
just
yeah,
that was like the energy. Well, and I watched it twice in theaters, and both times, just feeling and the
It was
applause.
wild, man. It was
is
wild.
amazing.
It was like movies became a sporting event.
Yeah.
I've never experienced anything like it.
It was special.
it
I
was
feel like it was a
special.
true rare like history, like the Rangers winning the World Series.
What?
It-
I
it
would
felt like that.
imagine that somebody from Texas would bring that up.
It definitely felt that way.
It was interesting because Aaron and I went to go and see it at a press screener, and you don't really get a lot of interactions, or reactions from people in press
Mhm.
screeners like that.
No, you
But there
don't.
were a few people, but I did not hold back. I did not hold back at all.
Yeah.
And what was funny is a week later, I was hosting a screening for a bunch of Audi representatives at the local theater. They got an early press screening too because Audi's always been working with Marvel.
Mm.
And it was fun because while I was there, I was standing up front, while everybody else was watching. So I got to literally watch a full theater's reaction to Cat picking up Mjolnir, and like hundreds of people going, "What? What?" So it was really cool seeing it from that perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes just for fun, I'll just research like YouTube links of the audio of people experiencing that moment for the first time. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
All right, Susan, what is your number one?
Short term 12.
Yes.
That was the minute you guys sent this list, I was like, well, I know my number one because short term 12 was, I think it was pretty high on my list the year that came out in my top 10, but also that was the first time I ever saw Brie Larson in a movie.
It's the first time we ever saw a lot of Oscar winners in a movie. It's amazing the Oscar winners that have come from this crew and future Oscar winners probably.
I gotta double check who else. I'm so drawn to her. I can still remember like her crawled up in a corner, like freaking out and stuff like that. And I just remember thinking, this girl, whoever she is incredibly talented. I'm drawn to her. Anything she's in, I feel like, and so, yeah, it's true. Anything she's in, I'm always like, wow, she's a dang good actress. So yeah, and on top of that, it was just a really wonderful film and powerful, and I love movies like that in general. I'm usually an indie fan, so it was just really great. And yeah, I don't even think I realized who all was in it. I was just thinking about Brie Larson, and I knew John Gallagher Jr. was in it. But,
introduced us to Rami Malek, who went on to win an Oscar as well.
Lakeith
Stanfield, who in that movie wasn't even called Lakeith Stanfield. I think he was called Keith Stanfield or something like that.
Wait, does Lakeith Stanfield have an Oscar?
No.
Oscar nomination.
No, okay.
I didn't even know he had a nomination. I was just saying Rami Malek has an Oscar. I said future Oscar winners as well.
Oh, yeah. Caitlin Dever
may be in that category as well. So all just kind of in that same movie.
Stephanie Beatrice from Reno or from Brooklyn 911 is in this too.
Yes, definitely.
I have to admit, Susan, this movie is on my list of shame that I have not seen.
Oh my God, you have to watch it.
It's on, I think it's on Peacock, or something.
Says it's on
I'm going to
Peacock.
watch it tonight.
Do it. You'll be so happy you did. And it's only an hour and 36 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good one. All right, tell us, Andrew, what is the number one?
How did nobody have Scott Pilgrim on their list?
I'm not a huge Scott Pilgrim fan. I like it okay, but it's not one of my favorites.
I'm kind of with Aaron on this. I feel like I'm in the minority because everybody who watches it is like, oh my God, this movie's like the best movie ever. And I'm like, I liked it.
It's a really good movie. It's just
you're all fools.
Not as good as 21 Jump Street, 13 Going on 30, Room, Short Term 12, or Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Lies, my friends.
Yeah.
It's one of the funniest movies ever made.
Tell us about its amazingness, Andrew.
I absolutely love it, and I can totally understand why this is an acquired taste because it is an out there kind of movie, not one that is going to be accessible for everybody. But no, I absolutely love it. I love the video game elements of it mixed with the comic book art style. It's just a really funny movie. I think Michael Cera is on fire in this, and it has some of the best cameos from future superheroes ever. Like Chris Evans is great.
Yeah.
Brie Larson.
Yep.
There you go. Totally get it. It was in my honorable mentions. Speaking of which, Andrew, what did the Sif Pop crew have to say about this topic?
Interestingly enough, we got a tie in one of ours because there were a lot of votes when it came to Brie Larson movies. At number 3, we had Scott Pilgrim. At number 2, we have a tie between Room and Short Term 12.
Wow.
And number 1, we have, tied at number 2. So I guess Scott Pilgrim's technically number 4, I guess.
Right, yes.
And then number 1, we have Endgame.
Yeah.
There you go.
I got it. I get that.
Any other honorable mentions from you guys? Susan, Andrew? Anything else you want to throw out that Brie's been in?
I'll honorable mention Scott Pilgrim for you.
There you go.
Thank
That way we
you.
all
I
mention it.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we finish things off, let's do some buried treasure. What's that one thing in any area of pop culture that you want to make sure people know about? Susan, you're our guest, so you will go last. Andrew, kick us off. What do you want to talk about?
So this isn't my buried treasure, but real quick. Last week I had Bahubali as my buried
Mhm.
treasure, and I said I was going to watch the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. Have you ever seen a sequel to a movie that just makes the original like 10 times better?
Yes, I have.
Yes, that's exactly what happened with Bahubali. So definitely
Nice.
check out both of those movies. But my buried treasure for the week, Attack on Titan, is finally over with. It is wrapped up. And it will probably go down for me as one of the best shows ever. It was a journey and a half. I like how it wrapped up. It was beautiful. I cried a little bit. Great action. Yeah, a truly, truly original show.
Very nice. Where can you watch Attack on Titan?
Hulu, right?
Netflix and Hulu, I think.
Okay.
I know it's definitely on Hulu. My husband watches it, and so he's thrilled that it's finally over.
Yeah. They dragged it out for a little while, so I'm right there with them.
Very nice. My buried treasure is by the way, and Susan can attest to this. This time of year, I'm watching so many movies that sometimes it gets all jumbled up. And like, I would not be surprised to do a buried treasure that was like a main review or something, and I just forgot. Like, I'm watching so many movies that I can't remember if I've talked about them or where I've talked about them or whatever. But I did want to mention the Kane Mutiny Court Martial on Paramount Plus. This is Kiefer Sutherland and Lance Reddick, Jason Clarke, Lewis Pullman, and Jake Lacey and Monica Raymond. And this is the final movie of William Friedkin. This is a movie that's been made before. You may know the kind of the outline of the story, but Kiefer Sutherland is playing a captain who had his ship mutinied, quote unquote, and then the court case is to decide if it truly was mutiny or if it was something that was okay to do. So this is all inside the courtroom, which I don't know if you just hear that, if you think, oh, well, that sounds exciting just to sit inside a courtroom. But what makes it really interesting is that the case and the facts of the case are so compelling and so well done, and the performances are so good. This may be my favorite Kiefer Sutherland performance. I think he's incredible in this. It also is one of the final Lance Reddick performances. And he's incredible in it. There's a lot of really great acting going on here, and it's a really compelling case and story. So check it out. It's on Paramount Plus. It's called the Kane Mutiny Court Martial. So there you go.
Sounds interesting.
Susan, what do you got?
I am recommending The Golden Bachelor. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, what it is.
No, I'm assuming it's a type of a reality show based on the Bachelor universe.
Yes, it's it's a first season for the Bachelor franchise. They've been talking about it for years, but it's a senior citizen.
It was originally called Bachelor's Endgame. I believe is what it was originally titled.
Yeah. Well, it's actually so heartwarming and wholesome. They have this guy, Gary, who is 71, 72 years old, and all his women had to be at least 60, which I appreciate because I was not about to be happy if 45-year-olds were trying to date him. He's not rich or anything. He's just like a normal guy who has a really sad story about losing his wife in 2018. And basically he's a really sweet guy. It made the show kind of go back to its original roots where it's not about the drama or like gross like sexual stuff. It's honestly just, like I said, it's very wholesome. It's just it comes into being more about when you lose, which is kind of sad because you think about whenever you lose your loved one, like eventually someone's going to die first, which, unless we go Notebook. And like, what do you do? How do you start over? And all these women, they're kind of getting a second chance at love. Not even if they don't get with Gary, they're getting this opportunity like, hey, it's not over for me. I can go and find love. So it's really just so sweet. And I think anyone can watch it because you don't have to feel like connected, like, oh, I didn't watch a certain season. It's just like a clean slate.
Very nice. The Golden Bachelor, where can you watch it?
On ABC or Hulu.
Very nice. That's The Golden Bachelor on Hulu, The Kane Mutiny, Court Martial on Paramount Plus, and Attack on Titan on Hulu, and possibly also Netflix. Well, there you go. We did it, guys. We managed to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Congratulations to everyone involved. Even though there were no bow ties, we still managed to have a good time. Thank you so much for joining us today for Sif Pop. It is part of the Studio DNA Podcast Network. You can find out more about other shows on the network at studiodna.media or by searching Studio DNA in your podcast player. Huge thanks to Andrew for hanging out again tonight.
Thank you, buddy.
Big thanks to producer Phil for producing the audio and video show.
Thanks, Phil.
And thank you to Susan Comyop-Stevens for coming by one more time. Susan, where would you like people to look you up and see your stuff?
You can find me at This Chicks Flicks on my socials or thischicksflicks.com with X.
There you go. An X in both places, right? Chicks and Flicks, both with an X, if you want to check that out. Much love and gratitude to our Sif Pop members as well for giving monthly to make Sif Pop a real thing. Support starts at $3 a month, and you get access to all the bonus episodes at the different levels. So you can check all that out and all the other perks at patreon.com/SifPop. Lots of ways to connect with us. You can leave a comment, a rating, or a review at Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen. You can also email us, feedback@sifpop.com. And finally, if you're having a good time, your movie-loving friends will probably like this show too. So make sure you let them know about it and that listening is much easier than doing light-based teleportation double dutch. We will be back next time with The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and more. And we will see you then.
Bye.
Bye.